Hey, we're gonna jump right in today. As you guys say good morning, we're gonna be talking about self-care.
Good morning.
Tell us something that you did this morning for yourself as you're saying good morning.
I mean, getting dressed. I brushed my hair. Something I made the bed. I'm super, yeah. Don't come to me for self-help, self-care, self. Are we on already? Are we recording this?
We're recording, girl.
We
Hey, I remember a time where you came and you're like, I just did my workout. And I think that's been several times. So you worked out before you got here. You've inspired us to do
Uh,
the same.
that's true.
Yes,
Today's
That's
just to
true.
make your
which
bed
I
day.
did
That's
not
fine.
do this morning.
I got a good one. I chose to sleep a little longer and not work out this morning. And that was my self-care because
Great.
after getting back from being in Sicily and have missing the gym for probably a couple weeks just because of schedules, my body is so sore from the last 2 days. I'm walking like the 80-year-old. And Jeff is like, what if you just give your body a rest today? I was like, you know what? That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm going to
and
give it
that's
a
okay.
rest.
Great.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I got a little more sleep and I rested. That was my self-care today. Boom.
What about you,
Still
Kath?
winning.
Boom. This is my self-care. You see that? Can you see it? Coffee. Okay, that's
It
not
looks
really,
empty.
but my sweet husband makes me a cup of coffee in the morning. And listen, we usually sit and have a catch up before we get started with our day. And I love that. I think that is self care for myself and for our marriage to have that little time before we get
Absolutely.
going with our day. What about you,
Yeah.
Care?
Because we are okay. So, what did I do this morning? I do a brain tap session with that headset just to kind of, before I even get out of
So
bed, just to wake up my nervous system and be like, all right, time for the brain to wake up.
you did the
And
real thing.
got my Rise mushroom coffee here this morning, too.
Okay, I don't mean to keep saying, "Hey, I just got back from Sicily," but since I got back
I
from
just got back from
Sicily,
Sicily. So,
Hey,
I'm not
where'd
gonna
you
lie,
go,
like, my
Alicia?
coffee tastes like water. I am a spoiled coffee diva now with their
Well,
cappuccino and their
I
espresso.
was gonna say, and we order our coffee from Italy. We order Lavazza coffee. Well, I don't know if it comes
Okay,
from
well,
Italy. It
send me the
originates in
link
Italy.
because I know,
It's good.
original problems. I'm dying over here. This coffee is just
Well, you
inadequate.
probably need a proper espresso machine to
I do,
extract
and then
your
I look
yes,
them
like
delicious
up,
coffee.
and I'm
Kathy's.
like, "Oh my gosh, I could go to Italy, like, at least once
Yes.
a year
Well, you don't have to get
instead
the
of buying this
$4,000
espresso
machines.
machine."
They are expensive, but
Yeah.
they're worth it.
All
They're
right,
so good.
so we're talking about
Okay.
things that
Okay.
people in our stage of life can do, right? Remember when you were little or had younger kids and we're like, oh my gosh, to be able to just sit with a cup of coffee in the morning, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Well, we're there. We're there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. I can jump into that. So when my boys were younger, Hunter and Spencer were like preschool age. I went to an organization, they probably still have it, called MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers.
They
Yep.
do still have it.
Yeah. And somebody had invited me. And so I went with them. And it was like I think once a week, I don't know, whatever it was, they would have speakers. And this speaker, who was an older lady, probably how old we are right now, challenged us. It was all about self care and how, just like the airplane. And now, like, I feel like this is such a cliche because of social media and everybody knows this, right? But you're on the airplane. You don't put the baby's mask on first. You put your own mask on first, and then you put the mask on to help the other people. Because if you're not okay, you can't help the others around you, right?
Absolutely.
And she challenged us to do something for ourselves, even just one little thing once a day for a month. So maybe we met once a month. But anyway, I remember doing that. And it was really, for me, it was good to kind of have that goal because it made it intentional for me. Every day I thought, okay, what is something that's just for me that I can do to take care of myself? So that was kind of a marking experience for me, that particular
Yeah,
month.
yeah. It sounds like she gave you permission to do that. And I think as moms
Yeah.
and, running these families and busy, with all the kids, that we need that permission to go, it's okay to do something for yourself every day. Do
Yeah,
one
and I
thing.
think I think sometimes, at least for me, it was like I didn't even really know what that looked like, or like it wasn't even on the radar. I had to think about it. Kind of like I did this morning. I'm like, I don't know. What do I do for myself? Now I have way more time than I had when I had babies. But
Mhm.
yeah, you just don't really think because your thoughts are always, I got to take care of the kids, the house, if you have a job, you have that part of your life that you're trying to take care of, or a business and, the whole family. You don't really think about putting you on the list, right? You don't even, like, I never made the list
Right.
until she said, that's your assignment. You have to
Yeah.
put yourself on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I talk to young moms, that's one of the main things that I say is, listen, you don't want to be the 45-year-old mom who looks in the mirror and has no idea what just happened to the last 15, 20 years and who you became. I think it's real common for us to lose ourselves in motherhood. We
Yeah.
don't even, something as simple as if you were a painter and you love to paint and slowly you see all your paint materials get put away or taken over by kids' stuff and you don't do that. Or, if you're a writer, if you're a runner, I mean, you pick your
Mhm.
thing that you love, but sadly, throughout those years of having small children, that gets tucked away. I'm the queen of that. I'm the queen of putting everyone else before myself. And so the older I've gotten, the more I've tried to be intentional. I know for me,
Mhm.
it's a simple self care, but one of my favorite things to do is to run a hot bath with some Epsom salt, some candles. I light my little patchouli incense and I just soak and just
Mhm.
try to quiet things. I didn't do that enough when I had younger children, but now that I have more time and
Yeah.
energy to run a bath, I can
For
do that.
real. Yeah. And I think that comes out of, I think all three of us might have our own experiences of a time when we did crash and burn because
Yeah.
we didn't. And for me, I don't think I've
Yeah.
talked about this yet, real quick. About in 2016, I was, single parenting for 10 years, of course, the kids, and then step parenting for only 2 years and not putting myself first. And through there, I did work out, I did exercise, I did try to run, which was my quiet space, my time to go replenish. But however, not putting myself and really my emotions, I did crash. I was in the ER for anxiety and mini heart attack and wanted to crawl under the chair and just disappear from life. And it was like, like you said, who am I? Who have I become? Which then caused me to go dive in deeper into the holistic functional world. And then went back to
Mhm.
school for 2 years and got my certification to be a counselor to help other women, but also helping myself. Gut health, lifestyle changes. And then, so with health, let's dive into this real quick. With health, there's three pillars, right? The three legs of the stool. One of them is our structural, our working out, our strength, our bodies, chiropractic, massages, whatever that might look like for our body. And then chemical, which is what are we eating? What kind of supplements are we taking? What kind of negative things are we putting into our body? Are we drinking alcohol? All of that. And then another issue which I didn't really address because I was eating all the things and I was working out was the emotional side. I don't have emotions. I'm not addressing that later, 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 later,
Don't have
right? But if
emotions.
that is not addressed, forgiving others, asking for
Mhm.
forgiveness, working like we're
Yeah.
talking about here, working on relationships, working on childhood wounds, going to therapy. If we don't do that, the other two won't sustain
Yeah.
us.
That
So
leg,
So
that
good.
leg just
that
rocked
that
and
leg
made me
will,
crash.
yeah, and so I feel like, for me, I had to make some major changes because I wasn't doing that. And now giving, like you were saying, giving ourselves permission to go to therapy. You know what, you guys got dinner tonight, I got counseling right now. Or
Mm.
whatever that looks like, not feeling like. And I remember a counselor told me one time, he's like, stop shooting all over yourself. I should show up here. I should do this. I should take them here. And not address and take care of our own selves. So for me, it's been a long journey of learning to put up boundaries. And I know you guys, like we said, each have our own stories of how we had a fork in the road and be like, okay, we have to take care of ourselves. And so if you're out there and you're young and you're you're in the thick of it, just know that it is worth it to stop and be like, it's to make yourself a priority. It's okay. The kids need you to do that more than they might need you to make them another dinner or clean up their toys or drive them somewhere. Like they need you to like you're saying, put the mask on yourself before, because now I'm paying the
And they need
price.
to see you do that. That
Yes,
actually,
exactly.
you need to
Exactly.
model that for them, because if you ask yourself, would you want your child to not take care of themselves in
Oh
motherhood?
my
Would you
gosh.
want your child to that? You would say, of course, I would want my child to take care of themselves. So model
And
But
that.
that
how
was
are they going to know to do that if they've been watching us run around ragged and not put ourselves
Correct.
first?
that was one of the things that this speaker had said. She's, it was all about taking care of yourself. And she said, if you have a doctor appointment or a dentist appointment, do you cancel it? If you have something else going on with your kids, you're like, I don't have time for that. Well, would you want your kids to not go to the doctor? Like, think about that. Like, you're modeling what your kids are going to do. When they're taking care of themselves and you're not there to take care of them, are they going to say, well, my mom never went to the doctor? It wasn't that important. What it says is it's not that important. That's the message that we give them. And it's funny, Carrie, you were saying about how, our kids see us doing that. I have a funny story about the boys, and y'all know my boys were off the charts, like crazy town. And I had missed the gym for a couple of days maybe, and things had been crazy. I think, somebody'd been sick. Who knows what it was, but it was summertime and Andrew was about 9 or 10. So he had to go with me, but he really didn't like going to the gym. And he kind of just sat in the childcare room. It wasn't like the Y where they've got it all divided up with fun stuff. It was just a regular gym where kids just went in a room and there was somebody in there making sure they don't die. And, he would always complain, I don't know, I have to go to the gym. So stupid. Right? He'd give me that Darth Vader noise.
Mhm.
And finally, after like 2 days, and I must have been so grumpy. He's like, Mom, I think you need to go to the gym this morning. We should really go, because he was recognizing that was an outlet for me. Like, without that release and kind of taking care of that part of me, like the rest of me wasn't hanging so well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they see it. They
Yeah.
see it and they recognize
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about, unless you have something to say, Kath, about that. Let's talk about being the younger one. So we're that younger mom. And I think we're talking about be that example for our kids. So what might that look like? Yes, go into the gym. Take them anyway. And this is what I learned later on. Take them anyway. If you're going to go hike Sawney Mountain and they don't want to go and they're take them anyway. Take them anyway. Grab their
Yeah, I
bikes.
wasn't great at that. I would put that aside. I definitely, I didn't do that early on. And so I had to learn that lesson of that. You two were much better at that than I think I was. So
Well,
I
we
think
had less
that's
kids to
important.
take too.
Oh, well, I don't know. Carrie
We
had
that's
just about as many.
A bunch of kids.
well, yeah,
Yeah, come on.
Carrie
you
had
did.
a lot. She and I went on trips together. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's so important. If you can start that habit early, like when they're babies, get them out in that stroller and just go for a walk. I mean, if you just that, because that's self-care for you, that's self-care
Yeah.
for them, and just start those habits together, I think they're more likely to join in the hike in Sawney Mountain when you've started them from the get-go. So create those habits early.
Yeah. And understanding they are watching us and they are going to remember like running races, taking my kid to run these races. Now that's an area they're not afraid to jump into now as adults. Like, oh, we know what that's like. We've been there. Whether they choose to continue to do it or not is up to them, but at least it's an exposure to a place where, they're now familiar with is running races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
had
It's
a
whatever.
something you
friend.
can do. It's an option.
I
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
friend who was
Go ahead,
Sorry, I was
Kathy.
gonna say I had a friend who was speaking at a conference and she was talking about helping our kids learn to take risks. And they were saying something so similar that when they were young, they lived close to town so their kids could bike everywhere. And so their kids became so comfortable with biking that when they got to be adults, the siblings all decided to go bike in Europe together. And they went on a bike trip, the siblings, to do that. But
I
they
love
had
that.
such fond memories of biking all over their town together. They're like, well, let's go
I love
bike
that.
somewhere else. And they went on this major,
Wow.
together biking. So you never know what you're inspiring by doing those things when they're little too.
Yeah, even though they're probably like, I don't want to go, it's too hot.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay home.
Right.
Take them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is then we're talking about self care, which is caring for ourselves because it's good for us to get out. We're showing them what it's like to
Yes.
take care of ourselves. But I had Roy here the last couple days, and then he was here for a couple days last week. Remembering what it's like, it's hard to find that space to maybe work out or even fix yourself a decent meal. So I get it. I remember what that's like. It's not easy. So what are some small things that we can recommend that these moms with young kids can do in those spaces?
I think Carrie, you and I, we met once a week for years.
Mm.
And I think having an established time where you either get away by yourself or you go have lunch with a friend, again, without guilt, that every Wednesday night I'm out, dinner can be cereal. It won't kill them, even if it's, you're the most organic, earthy mama. One night of cereal is not going to, destroy. It can be gluten free. It can be sugar. You can give them homemade granola, but have that established time and stick to it, that you get away from everything, the everyday responsibilities. That does not make you less of a mom. It actually, in most situations, will make you a better mom if you have time away to catch up with a friend or go sit by yourself. Gosh, I spent so many times sitting by myself at Starbucks, just going and I wrote a whole book with someone sitting at Starbucks, but I mean, it involved me leaving my children to go sit for a while. So you can do that. I think those are great self-care things to do. Schedule time
Yeah,
away.
exactly. And a difference between then and now is that we didn't have social media. So I feel like maybe
Right.
they're spending their time, on the social media, just kind of scrolling, 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 and then leaving it feeling bad or guilty because my house doesn't look like that. I don't look like that. I'm not cooking that.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
and then paying attention to those feelings, if it's inspiring you to go do something, great, keep doing it. But if it's causing more just self-consciousness of what you're not doing or who you're not showing up for, then maybe it's not a great thing. And to replace it with, going to see a friend or art, if you want to, like you were saying, like painting or something.
Also, I would say with the social media, and this is like I'm preaching to myself here because I just get sucked in so bad and all that dopamine just floods my brain when I get in there, is that if you're doing that, just pay attention to how much time you're spending doing that, because it could be that it feels good at the time, but you're actually spending time that you could be directing towards something else that would be more life-giving for you. Right. I mean, I can sit on that thing and then an hour goes by and I'm like, shoot, I coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? But you can't, that's the
Yeah,
one thing you can't ever get back is your time. So just,
right. Right. And now
sometimes,
the baby's up from the nap and now it's time to be with
uh,
them. And then you're feeling
yep,
bad.
yep, yeah.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
see
I
without.
think that's great self-care to limit your time on the phone and on the social media apps. I mean, I
Hmm.
definitely am one that feels worse usually after comparing,
And being
Back in the
intentional.
day,
everyone else.
we had magazines, and I remember ordering the Runner's World magazine, right? Because I'm like, I'm going to be a runner someday. So I think I read it for like 2 years before I even got out the door. But I mean, that was it. It wasn't as addictive. I could like read a quick page in like 10 minutes and then put it away for another time. Whereas I feel like our phones are not like that.
Wow.
It's almost like it just erases time. You just go down this black hole and it's very easy to lose track of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess encouraging the younger generation to think about like what makes you come alive. What is something you can do to fill that small space that makes you come alive, whether it is being creative or talking to a friend or, something small. You don't have to go out and be a runner and run a marathon or, sign up for races. You don't have to do that. What does that look like? Saturday mornings, go take your kids for a walk or to the park or go hiking or something. It's really important for me. I was a runner. I did do like mini triathlons and stuff, and it turned out for my detriment in the long term. But I'm giving myself grace because in the moment, that is what I needed to do. And that is what I wanted to do. And I came back home more alive and more ready to jump into parenting my kids after taking that time away for myself. Sometimes exercise can be too much and too stressful. So just paying attention to, if you're that kind of person like I was, paying attention to that, it can be too much and causing more stress on the body, which is now where I'm at now, is I don't do that. I'm paying attention to what I need now, and it's more softness, more yoga, just more stretching, more care than before. And so now let's flip it to where we're at now in our ages, kind of just going
Can
into
I say
that.
one more thing about the young mom before we flip it?
Absolutely.
One last thing I want to encourage young moms to do. If you're listening to this and you have young children, I want to encourage a wild idea. I want to encourage you to take a trip by yourself. So if you can do that once a year, once every couple of years, but you work with your partner and you say, can I take a weekend not with your girlfriends, not with anyone else, just you, yourself, and you, and go away. I did that several times and it is powerful to give. And it's funny when I talk to moms who do it They usually say they sleep the first day because they're so sleep deprived. And that is okay. But
Mhm.
then I had one mom, I share this a lot in conferences. I had one mom, she went to Disney World by herself
So
because
fun.
that's what brought her life. And so she did. And she said it was fabulous. I've had other moms go to the beach. I've had other moms go to a city where they tour museums or go to shows. Many women have done it. And so the reason it's so good is because one, you fall kind of in love with yourself again. You get to remember what do you love, what do you enjoy, what brings you life, as you said. It gives you time to rest. And usually you come back after that so ready to go, and you've not. That's why I want you to do it alone, not with other people, but kind of a little me vacation. So you might not can do it every year, but at least a few times when you have little kids, try and implement that type of self-care. It's pretty deep self-care. All right,
Amazing. And
moving
at
on.
least 2 days, because like you said, it takes the first
Yes.
day. We're usually
Yeah.
just calming down. Okay, nobody actually needs me. I don't actually have to cook for
Yep.
anybody. And then the second day is like, okay, I can be here.
Yes.
Yeah, great idea. Just thinking about that makes me smile. So
Yes, I know. Me too.
You
I want to go.
especially. You want to go by
you,
yourself,
Alicia, you've been
Alicia?
gone.
Yeah. What are we saying? You get all these.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, as we're transitioning, going from younger to older, is to pay attention to those, like we talked about the emotional side, some relationships that might cause stress that thinking we can keep over here, keep hidden, keep dark, that really are coming along with us. So to think about that, maybe getting some therapy if you need to, that
Yes.
along the way, and just kind of working on those things as well, not just physical. And then paying attention to what we're eating, obviously. With little with Roy is like, okay, what does he have? And I'm just going to grab that. I'm just going to grab that. Remembering those days instead of going, okay, what do I need to nourish myself? And taking time and paying attention to that and actually doing it. Because that'll catch up with us as well.
And I think even asking the question, what do I want?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, what you need is important. But I think, when I was younger, so many times what I wanted just it was like, it doesn't really matter what I want.
Mhm.
Like, it's not about me right now. Right. So many times that I didn't get what I wanted. And so just being able to actually, hey, what do you want? And
Mhm.
maybe you get what you want now. Maybe it's your turn to do some things that you want to do. Do some, if you are, I would just say, if you are in our stage of life and you were the young mom that didn't take time out to kind of find your way and know who you are, and you're kind of waking up and the kids are out of the house and you're like, who am I? Like,
Mhm.
ask yourself, what did I really enjoy doing before this whole life happened, right? When you were on your own, before you got married, maybe after you got married, before you had kids, what did you enjoy doing? Did you enjoy going to the beach? Did you enjoy taking hikes? Did you enjoy going to a crime con show? Did you enjoy, going to the makeup store, buying lipsticks, eating Mexican, painting, whatever? I think that can be really powerful too.
Absolutely. And I think what we're saying is maybe encouraging the youngers to continue to do that,
Mhm.
right? Maybe to
Yeah, and start
continue
if
so
you're
that
not.
you don't get to the point of like, oh my gosh, who am I? It's no, continue to be and do the things that bring you life and the things that you enjoy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I definitely got to that point, I guess maybe it was like about 3 years ago, and I was depleted, and kids were all at the house. I had grandkids whom I, as you all know, I love, but I just felt like it's just still not about me. And in the big picture, it's not about me, right? But the things that I would want to do, like, well, what, okay, we're going to give your car to, we're going to take your vehicle, sell it to our youngest son because they were having another baby. So, which means I am open for another car. I'm like, well, I mean, I guess just get me whatever it needs to be. And a friend of mine said, well, what car do you want? Have you ever gotten to pick a car before? I'm like, well, I mean, I picked the minivan and I picked the,
Nobody would pick a minivan.
right? I
Who
mean, I'm
picked the
just like all
minivan?
these things. Like, she's like, no, 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 no. That's not what you wanted. That's what you needed at the time that made the most sense. And that's how I got the Jeep, because I was like, I mean, I've always kind of wanted a Jeep, but it seems so impractical. You can't take
Yeah.
all the kids in it. It uses a lot of gas, blah, 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 blah. Right. And she's like, well, maybe go drive some, and maybe you don't like them, but go drive some, go find out, go figure out what it is that you want, that you like again.
Mhm.
Can be, I think, very powerful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that, Kath?
No, I mean, I just agree. I think that the goal would be what you said, is that we don't get to that point, but many of us did, and I'm sure there are people listening to it that might be at that point right now. It's not too late. That's the other thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not too late. You can go do it today, go jump in the lake today if that's something you didn't get to do, or,
Yeah,
take a pottery class. It's just not too late. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's the simple things. I mean, I've been a parent my whole adult life. I didn't get to have that
Yeah.
before. When what did
Yeah.
you do before? I didn't have that. And so
Right.
now even just going to sit at a coffee shop is like, this is so great. This is so great. I get to do
Well,
this.
I
I get to do
remember
this.
we were at a restaurant or something, wasn't it? And you were like, "This is so good. Just eating at a restaurant with just adult." Yeah, I love that. This is magic. And that's right. I mean, it's different for all of us, but what brings you that life? That's exciting.
Hmm.
That's exciting if we can look at it that way
Yeah.
and then
And
put it into action.
it takes some hard work working on relationships like we were talking about.
It does.
Diving into these hard relationships that we think we can just ignore and working on ourselves and our own traumas and our own history and clearing some of that out and getting some freedom in those
Yeah.
places. And it just brings new life. And so then we do have the energy to feed ourselves well and go, do crazy things or not, whatever that
Or
looks
not.
like. Or not, or jumping
No
off cliffs
bungee
or not
jumping over here. Yeah, none of that here. You
jumping
wild
up
women.
this. Yeah. Or, for you, just sitting by the lake and just enjoying the water, whatever
Yeah.
that looks like for you. So that transitions again into now our ages now and how important it is because being the matriarchs of these families and now these grandchildren for for us to show up well for them, we have to show up well for ourselves first. So, what are some things that you guys do now that bring you life?
I'll go. I haven't been so good at it lately, but with my schedule, but I have continued the habit of going to the gym every day. Some people are like, "Oh my gosh, you go to the gym every day." If we didn't have this recording today, I probably would have gone anyway and maybe just walked or hopped on a stationary bike, visited with some people. The habit of doing that is life giving for me. So I'm glad that I didn't let that go
Mm.
when I was younger. Other things that I do that are like, I love to go to the beach or the water or the ocean. We don't have a boat anymore. So if any of y'all are in the Atlanta area and have a boat and want to invite me out, I will 100% always say yes. But I love, even on the lake, I love being out on water. I love watching sunrises. And I know that's a little extra because you got to get up early, but I just think it's so amazing that every morning it's different. And it happens every single day, whether you are there to witness it or not. I just think that just makes my soul smile. And I've got painting
I
on the
love those.
list, but I haven't painted. I painted with the grandkids like twice. I was like, I'm going to start painting again. So it's
Very
still on the
therapeutic
list.
to
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I love all of that. I think just we take walks every day now, just casual walks with the dogs. And I love that we get out and do that. I definitely have been not as consistent in my life as you two about the working out. I love the working out. I just am quick to say this is more important, but we don't live close to a gym. I love the gym like you did, Alicia. I love the people at the gym at the
Yes.
Y. Those years at
Yes.
the
Mhm.
Y,
Yeah.
it was just such camaraderie, and I don't know, it was so not just the workout was life-giving, but
Yeah.
just
Community.
I can't remember the sweet lady who worked for the FBI, the first female agent at the FBI ever worked out there, and that was the coolest thing, and I would sit and chat with her, and anyway, it was life-giving. But now we have a gym at our home, and it's not quite as life-giving. It feels sometimes like more work, but I know that if I want to have the strength to pick up my grandbabies and to play with my grandbabies, then I need to get my butt in there and work out and try and do that for myself, but also for my family. And I think some of our self-care, it is to make us better so that we can serve them better. And I think that's okay too.
Mhm. And something consistent you've done is get yourself to the doctor. You've done that to pay attention to what supplements you need. What do you need to be
Yeah.
taking? What do you need to be? So you've been really good at that. I feel like.
Yeah, I do a lot of holistic
Mhm.
care for myself and try and stay ahead and know and be willing to dig deeper to the emotional part. I have never been real scared to dig into the emotional part of myself. So I think that's so key with us of self-care is the emotional leg of your stool.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
cannot be put on the back burner because it does impact. If we're looking at how does self-care impact our relationship with our children and in-laws, then when we don't take care of our own emotional stuff, it spills over into our relationship with them for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. For
Carrie, what
me,
about you?
I don't work out anymore. I do, but I don't. I don't go to the gym. When I do go like 3 times a week, I do yoga. And I do one strength class. And I try, well, not like what I used to. People think,
Right.
somebody told me today, oh, you're a marathon runner. I have never ran one marathon in my life. But just paying attention to what my body needs now. It needs rest.
Yes.
It wants
Yes.
softness and
Yes.
walking I try to do 3 miles a day, just walking. And like I said, some strength and then just yoga, keeping strong. I do handstands in the morning because I want to be able to still do that when I'm 80, but just not, and being okay. It was,
Guys, if y'all can't see us, you should watch.
remember we went to the spa and we were in one of the
I do
spas and
remember.
Alicia and I were doing
Yes.
handstands.
And I was doing this,
We need to
shaking my
find that
head.
picture and post that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all, I couldn't believe it because I haven't been able to do a handstand since I was 15. So the fact that you two are still doing them at age was mind blowing
Yeah.
to me. I mean, y'all, you two are inspiring. I will say that you inspire me, and I love when you are here at the lake because y'all are acting like fools, and I love it. Like it's my favorite to see you flipping around. So
Yeah,
yes, we do.
love it.
We
I
need to
love
post
it.
that. We need to post the video of when y'all came to visit and you're doing handstands all over the place, Gary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, jumping off the cliff. And then just paying
yes,
attention to food and making those hard choices, right? It was a hard transition to be like, I can't, don't run anymore. I miss it. I miss it. I miss it. So grieving that what was used to be into what is now. And it's to a beautiful thing.
yeah,
And paying attention to those little spaces. So with all of those 3 legs of the stool we talked about, there's small changes within our lifestyle that we can change within those realms to make a difference. It doesn't have to be a huge thing because you guys, the 3 of us have been through some stuff. We would not
pretty
be
much
here
hell
today.
and back.
We would not be here today had we not done those things and made those hard choices and taken care of ourselves.
Well, and
in
I
those
don't want to
spaces.
discount this. Finding people. I know we started this whole podcast last year with that finding your tribe. And that is part of self-care. Finding people in your life who push you to be better. If you've got friends in your life and you sit around and bitch about things all day together, those probably shouldn't be your people. But if you find people that, spur you on and inspire you and encourage you, then you need to keep them close. Even if
Mhm.
years go by like they have with us, years have gone by where we didn't speak. But I could pick up the phone any time of the day or night and call either one of you without
Mhm.
hesitation. And that is part of self-care. Finding. You
Absolutely.
don't need many, but you do need a few good
Yeah.
ones to be in your
Mhm.
corner. Yeah. For the long
Absolutely.
haul. I mean, that's the thing. We've been friends for over 25 years. I mean, for the long haul.
And it can be
And I don't
different
think
people for different, like a spiritual, that might be a different relationship. And then, working out or whatever, you might have different people for that one. So it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person for all of it.
And they don't all have to be for the long haul. I mean, that reason, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or,
Yeah.
Mhm.
whatever the other one is.
But I think
But go ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say, I think when we became friends back when we were pregnant and, we had little babies we were raising, like, I don't think any of us, at least I didn't, thought like, man, you know what? These are going to be my sisters
Mm-hmm.
25
No.
years from now.
No.
I mean, because we were in and out of each other's lives so
Mhm.
much and kind of random and then erratic. And then we'd end up at a retreat together and we'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here. Yeah.
Or at the gym.
Or at the
I mean, we
Yeah.
ended up all at the same gym, and
Yeah. Church.
Oh my God. Yeah. I remember going to the Y that one day, Kathy. I don't know if you remember, and you were on a treadmill and I was having an awful life at that point. And we hadn't talked in don't know how long time,
Yeah.
but I was so happy to see you. And I got on that treadmill and I put it on like 10 and I just started running as fast as
I
I
do
can.
remember
You're
that.
like, Alicia, what are you
Yeah.
doing? I'm like, I'm trying to kill myself. I'm going to die by exercise. I can't legitimately think that I'm going to do it any other way. But if I just happen to die and I'm exercising too hard, I think that's acceptable. And like just being able to say that to you, and be real with you. And I slowed down and we started
Thank
talking
goodness.
And yeah, and I got healing just from that connection with you,
Yeah.
that day when I showed up and I was like, I just can't take it anymore. I can't do it
Mhm.
anymore. And I think it's okay to know that, you know what, you might have those. You might not have those days. I had a lot of those days, but it's okay to have those days.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
invest in those relationships, invest in taking care of yourself with a community that you have some sisters that you can be real with and, reach out to.
Yeah,
I mean, that
absolutely.
was definitely Providence that you were on the treadmill right next to me when I got on there because I didn't really see you when I got on. I
Isn't
just
that
Mhm.
crazy?
just started getting
Yeah.
after it.
I saw you.
Yeah. All right. So wrapping it up, you guys. I guess giving the young ones permission and ours permission, our people in our stage permission as well to take care of ourselves, to do something today. If it's not a practice that you already have, to do something for yourself today. Reach out to a friend, go for that walk, or sign up for a painting class, whatever it is that brings you life. That is our small deposit today. That
Well,
it
and
is okay.
also that's a way we can think about how we love on our daughters and daughters-in-law, sons-in-law, is how can we support them in their self-care journey? So
Mhm.
Yes.
maybe when you're thinking about what do I get them for a present, think how can I encourage their self-care? If they love painting, maybe we have the money to buy a painting class for them or some
Mhm.
painting tools for them. Or if they love running, maybe we get them a gift card to for some new running shoes. So that's
Great idea.
okay when you are struggling to get how to support them. Think of their self-care. How can we
Yeah, or
support them
maybe
in their
you show
self-care?
up for them so they can go running,
Correct.
So I know Carrie and I did it at like 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes together because that was the only time everybody in our house was asleep. People were like, "Oh, you guys
Yeah.
are morning people." We're like, "No, no, we're not. This is
So
just the only." That would have been great if somebody showed up to take care of
Yes.
everything at like 8 in the morning so I could just go for an 8 in the morning little jog or just coffee or whatever.
Yes.
I think that can
Yeah.
be huge for doing that for your daughters-in-law as well,
Yeah.
if
absolutely.
you're close. If you're close.
If you're close. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Right. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy to go to the gym, to make that get up in the morning and go for a run. It's not easy to reach out to people. There's always something that says, I'm just going to do this by myself. It's easier. It's really not. And so it's choosing your hard, choosing the hard to go for that run or go do whatever it is you need to do. Reach out to somebody. It's hard in the moment, but you'll reap the rewards.
Mhm.
So, all right. Any
Yeah.
last thoughts? Good
Good
stuff, you
one.
guys. Yeah.
I think that's it. I think the younger ones and the older ones, y'all go for the next week, 7 days. Go do one thing every day for yourself and write it down.
Yeah.
Do it and write it down. See
Sounds
I
all
good.
the
love
7
that.
things that you have done for yourself.
Absolutely. And it's not selfish. All right. See you guys next time.
All right. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.